All right, so I'm going to open up with, let me get that Second Peter chapter 3, brother Prashad. Go ahead and go into it.
This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. The second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, and both which I stir up your pure mind by way of remembrance.
Read it again for me.
It says, this is 2 Peter chapter 3 and 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, and both which I stir up your pure mind by way of remembrance.
So Paul is hoping that he stirs up our pure mind by way of remembrance. So this lesson is basically we're going to what we talked about last night. Basically what we talked about last night was the wives, the roles of the women and their position in order in the nation of Israel. But basically it's going to go into the Western mindset. So we have been made to think in the way of a nation that is not our own. So this is to stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Remembrance is knowing who we used to be. Let me get Romans chapter, what is it, 15? You know what?
Recording in progress.
No, principality of Jesus.
No. This is a basic conversation. Romans 12.
You trying to be not conformed to the world?
No.
Read that fourth time.
Yeah, 15 to 4. Look at that up.
The book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Hey, sis. Are they able to hear us? Because I know last time we were I don't know if it was the mic situation or whatever. All right. Read that again.
The book of Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
So the things that were written aforetime was written for our learning. We got to remember who we used to be. The Western culture has us, and a lot of us in the chokehold, so we think that this is the way that we're supposed to be. This is the way they think that we are made to believe that this is the way that we're supposed to be. And the way that the household is ran is the way that it's supposed to be. We have our own culture. Let me get one more scripture and I'm going to get into the lesson. Jeremiah 14 and is it 14 to 4? I don't know. I think it's right before that. You should forget your. What on? 17. 17 to 4. I know it's 4.
Jeremiah 17 and 4.
17 to 4. Watch this.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4.
Mhm.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage
So we're going to discontinue from our heritage. Go ahead.
that I gave thee.
That I gave thee. So we're discontinuing. We have been made to discontinue from our heritage. So when we actually hear the way that our forefathers and foremothers lived before, it seems weird to us. It seems strange to us. But it's actually normal for us. When we heard about the way, let me get calling him Lord in the book of, what is that? With any amazement, let's get that. Call it out. So,
1 Peter 3 and 6.
yeah. Watch this. 1 Peter 3 and 6. Just make sure he's ready.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and in verse 6, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
Calling him what?
Calling him Lord.
How strange is it for the wives to call their husbands Lord today? You go to the grocery store and you say, my Lord, how strange are you going to be looked at today? Really strange. But that's actually our culture. I'm showing you the difference between the Western mindset and our righteous mindset from the East, where we came from. So it's going to be looked at strange. It's going to be looked at very strange. Calling him Lord in front of your family members, your loved ones, you're going to be like, what, girl, you ain't a slave. That ain't your Lord. They're going to be looking at you like that, but that's actually our culture. But we have to understand that the Western mindset is not our culture. It's not our behavior. So when you hear these stories of sister wives, that's strange. Of calling your husband Lord, that's strange. You shouldn't be looked at as that strange. That's actually righteousness. That's actually a good thing. So our Western mind, even when it comes to the men, brotherly love. It's normal to look at a brother in today's society with an evil eye. The Bible speaks against that. So that's the Western culture, right? Instead of having brotherly kindness, being gentle as a man, what are you talking about? Bro, I got a whole beard. You know what I'm saying? So the culture that we are living in today is not the culture of our forefathers and our foremothers. Let me get Sirach chapter 8 and verse 9, and I want to get that in G&T. Sirach chapter 8 and verse 9. In the G&T. Yeah, Sirach chapter 8 verse 9 in the G&T. Go ahead.
This is Sirach 8 and verse 9 of the GMT. It says, pay attention to what old people say.
Read it again.
It says, pay attention to what old people say.
They have a closer understanding to the way that was right. I'm not saying that they are all the way right, because a lot of our elders are wrong. We've experienced it many times in the street, talking to our elders. They're all the way wrong, but they have a closer relationship to what was right in some areas, right? Go again.
It says, pay attention to what old people say,
Yeah.
for they learn from those who came before them.
They did what?
For they learn from those who came before them. You can learn from them, and they can teach you how to have an answer ready when you need one.
Right, so it's important to pay attention to our elders because they have some knowledge. Now, we do know that they had a thing done on them too, which I'm gonna read in Willie Lynch letter. We touched on this before, but I want to touch on it again, and I guess this is a good opportunity to. But basically, just showing you how the difference between the Western mindset and the Eastern mindset is. Our righteous estate in the way that we live here in America, right? We have been. I know the Bible talks about us being breached, but I'm trying to look for a better word. We have been duped, destroyed. That's a good one. We have been destroyed. We have been discontinued. We've been cut off from our righteous way of living, right? And a man, when it comes to a wife calling him Lord, because we've been destroyed, the man looks at it like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, that's all me. Because of the Western mindset. So it's off on both ends. Not understanding that the man now has a bigger responsibility. He has more responsibility to protect her with his life. With his life. He has to protect her. He has to provide for her. Right? So he earns that title. That's a title that is earned. Okay? So, again, I'm trying to show you the difference between the Western mindset and the righteous mindset. Okay, so let's get this real quick, and then I want to jump into the zombie and comment about religion.
This is the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. It says the breaking process.
Hold on just a second. Does someone have something? I want to make sure they can hear. I thought I heard somebody say something. I don't know if they did or not.
Oh, they can hear you.
They can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
It says the breaking process of the African woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly.
So this actually took place. We see this plan while right there. We're gonna stop right there. Let me get the book of Jeremiah, chapter Zion. Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22. Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22.
This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22.
So like here, can somebody check the app and make sure everything's okay? The chat. See the message, I don't know if everything's all right. Didn't hear it right. Everything okay? All right, go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22. It says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right, so this is not a good thing where the woman compassed the man. This took place in the times of slavery. And not just this, but it started taking place in the book of Jeremiah. But we really see it in more ways than one in the Willie Lynch letter, where the woman started to compass the man in rulership and authority and more ways. She had that masculine spirit on her instead of the feminine and dainty spirit that was talked about in our forefathers and our foremothers, like Esther and Ruth. They were submissive, and they're in the Bible for a reason, for a righteous reason, not for trying to take authority and rulership over the congregation. When we know that the Bible says the man is the head of the congregation, right? Go ahead, read that again.
It says, Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22.
Yeah.
How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
So don't take this as a rebuke. It can be taken as a rebuke, but take this as an understanding that the way that we think today is far away from what God wanted us to be. The way that we think in America is far away from what God planned it for us. That's why I said, can you imagine going to your family reunion? Say you go to a family reunion and you start calling your husband Lord. My Lord, my Lord. Do you want this? You start serving him and you see it in righteousness, but your family members see it as, what's going on over there? That's not right. You're going to be looked at as very strange. But we know that that's righteous according to the Most High God. And it said, what? Read that again.
It says, for the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
So start from the top.
It says, how long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter?
Yep.
For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right, so I want y'all to see how important that is dealing with today's society. We still think, I'm talking to the women and the men. This is the order between men and women. Because men have a responsibility and a very big role and responsibility when it comes to having a wife. You've got to give her instruction. I would say there's nothing so much beautiful as a mind well instructed, roughly paraphrasing. A mind well instructed. So that's something that the man has to make sure that she's getting instructions according to the Bible. Not according to how he feels, but according to the Most High God and his righteousness, so that she can be led to the kingdom, right? So let's go back to the Willie Lynch.
It says the breaking process of the African woman. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics.
She's the most important factor because she is who's going to raise her children. She's going to instruct her children on how they should be and how they shouldn't be. That's given to the mother, right? Go ahead.
It says, if she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her.
Right, so this happened through force. It happened through knowledge and through force. What's up, Cap? You got that?
No.
Okay, all right. You got a correction?
Nah. Go ahead.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
You said the part that's coming up, you want to, yeah, so, let's X out that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It says, if she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of B word out of her.
Right.
Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics.
Right, so if you do that, you spoil the process that they're trying to accomplish in the family structure, which is the woman taking authority because she's going to make sure that there's no more uprisings because she wants to make sure everybody's safe and taken care of. Hey, don't you go over there and do that. Oh, master, don't worry about him. He's slow. We see that a lot of time in slavery movies where they'll say, what is it called? Man, it's called, I forgot what it's called. It's a psychology word, but basically it's just her trying to deflect the slave master from either raping the woman, raping her daughter, or killing the son. So she's saying things that are hurtful. Oh, she's stupid, master. She's dumb. She's slow. She's doing that in order to protect her from him. It's a safety mechanism. You see what I'm saying? But over time, it's still played a part in their psychological effect, or children's psychological effect, thinking that that's how it's supposed to be done. So this was all done in the process to change the structure, the mindset of what the Most High God originally has in store for us. You calling your husbands Lord, the man protecting their wives even until death, not running away from responsibility, making sure that they're taken care of, right? Doing things in righteousness, standing up, being a strong leader in a household, right? So again, I'm showing the difference between the Western mindset and the righteous mindset. Is that it? Keep going.
It says, take care not to kill her, for in doing so you spoil good economics. It says, when in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age.
So there, see that? She's going to train her children to submit in early age because the men were used to having uprisings, burning the crops. We're not going to take this. Because people be like, why come, slaves didn't revolt? They did revolt. But this is a solution to the revolt. Having the woman take authority in the household. Having the woman ruling in the household. You know what I'm saying? Changing the whole mindset of our righteous estate. Submitting to our husbands. Husbands taking authority in authority position. Go ahead.
That's where DHS comes from. That's where they come in. DHS. They can go in the head of the house and tell.
Right.
Offer her the benefits, and the man can't be present in the house. That's part of the way it goes.
So the man king, that's all I'm saying. Man king is present in the house. So she's now making decisions in the household, and instead of relinquishing her authority to her husband and making him, because what does that do psychologically? Psychologically, what that does, her relinquishing her power that she has in America to her husband, it now makes him responsible and accountable. Ultimately, making him a stronger leader, meaning you have to make decisions for this household. Once he starts making logical and rational decisions for the house, he becomes a stronger leader. Every woman wants a stronger man than them. They want him physically stronger, mentally stronger, financially stronger, spiritually stronger. Every woman does. She wants to be taken care of, as she should be. She should be taken care of. But in order for that to happen in the house, in an American house, she has to relinquish her authority to her husband. Meaning, you've got, what's the lady she said? She said, when my husband comes around, my wrists are broken. She's not doing anything. He's taking care of the role, the position, and the authority in the household, right? So that's something that we got to understand. We have to understand that we have been duped. We've been destroyed as a people. We've been destroyed as Israelites. We've been made to think that this is the right way to go, and it's not. And I'm talking about not just in the area of the financial household, which is important, but I'm talking about in every area. The book is talking about righteous, being right with God, being in the right standings with the Most High. So this book contradicts the Western world. That's why it says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we got to come back to the Bible in the way that it tells us that we're supposed to behave, right? Brotherly and sisterly love. What does that even look like? Loving your neighbor as yourself. What does that even look like? It goes so deep. It goes so deep. It goes so deep. That needs to be talked about even more. When I see a brother that comes into the truth, boom, this brother, I've been in the truth for almost 10 years. The Most High God could have blessed him with more than what he blessed me with, to a degree. And I could be like, now we know that the men in Israel is considered the wives of the Most High God, right? Right? I hope you guys can understand. Okay. So let's say that now if I'm a wife to the Heavenly Father and I start to get jealous at this brother that just came in, what do you think is going to happen to me? I can't complain to my Lord. I can't. Hey, why you do this to him? Why is he so? You didn't treat me fair. You didn't treat me. That is fair. You know what I'm saying? And us complaining is going to get us cast out. Men complaining to the Lord is going to get us cast out. So the same way it's done in that relationship is the same way it's done between a husband and a wife. If a wife is complaining about a sister, it tells us to mark them that cause division. Right? That's what it tells us. That person should be marked. That woman should be marked. Right? So the same way that a man can get cast away from his jealousy is the same way a woman can get cast away from her jealousy. It's the same way. Same way. So, like I said, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's looked at as brotherly and sisterly love. He needs a place. He needs to come in and serve the Heavenly Father God in righteousness. Why would I get mad or jealous at his situation and his circumstance? That's not right for me. Brotherly and sisterly love. Did you have something? I know you're feeling it. You need God to come over here, King. You need God to come over here, man. Lord willing, I pray y'all understand where I'm coming from. Let's get a little bit more on that. Let's get was you done on that a little bit? I want to keep going into it. Let's keep going into it a little bit more. Just to show the destruction and what they did to us as a people. To show how they destroyed us as a culture, and in a culture. Like, our culture is not to be jealous of one another. Our culture is a righteous culture, right? As men, I'm talking about, man, you can see this in the men. You can see this form of jealousy in men too. As much as we like to harp on the women, you can still see it in the men. But it has to be spoken of. It has to be spoken on both sides. It has to be. It has to be spoken on both sides. Both sides have to hear it because it can take place on both sides. Right? Go ahead, Keith.
It says, take care not to kill her, for in doing so you spoil good economics. Mm-hmm. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. It's like understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in the breaking of the female nigger. Mm-hmm. We have reversed the relationship.
It says the breaking of the female nigger. They had to break her because she was completely submitted to her husband. She was completely dependent on her husband. They had to reverse, what did it say last one you said?
We have reversed the relationship.
They had to reverse the relationship. They had to stop making her completely dependent on him and turning her to be completely independent, which is what we see today. Strong, independent women. We see that very well. They sing songs about it. We see it so well. You know what I'm saying? The strong, independent woman is not righteous. That's not according to the Most High God. She's supposed to be completely dependent, and the man is supposed to be completely dependent on the Lord. He Most High God is supposed to be the source of everything, making any decisions, whether it be financially, medically, he's supposed to be dependent on the Heavenly Father, the same way she's dependent on him, right? Go ahead.
It says, in her natural, uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male.
There you go. And they call it, what do they call it? Sweet Lizzie?
Uncivilized?
Yeah, they call it uncivilized. They call that uncivilized. But that's exactly how they want their women. But when it came to us, it's uncivilized. Read that again.
Might I say this?
Go ahead.
Civilized, according to them, is when we under subjection to them. When we in order and we do things the way they want us to do it, they call that civilized. When you break their rules, they call you uncivilized. But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's saying in her natural uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. And she would have a limited protective dependency toward her independent male offspring and will raise female offspring to be dependent like her.
So the roles were reversed in the offsprings as well. The girl, the daughter would become independent, have an independent mindset, right? And the man would be, which what they did was they took the mind and they kept the body, right? Where the man was physically strong, he was no more mentally strong. Where he used to be both mentally strong and physically strong. But they took the mind of the man to keep his physical body to be able to produce economics, agriculture, you know what I'm saying, do the things that they needed him to do, right? So, read that for me one more time.
It says, we have reversed the relationships. In her natural uncivilized state, she would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. And she would have a limited protective dependency toward her independent male offspring,
Right.
and will raise female offspring to be dependent like her.
So the woman was always supposed to be protected, never independent. She was never created to be independent. She was always created to be protected. When a woman in America, she goes off, she gets her own apartment, she gets her own place to stay, she gets her own job, she's providing for herself. To have a woman working, there's nothing wrong with that. To have her being educated, there's nothing wrong with that. But for her to think that she can do everything on her own, that's where we fail. That's where we fall. That's where she's easily conquered. Physically. She's gonna physically be easily conquered. She's a target.
When Western starts saying, I can do bad all by myself.
That's right.
I don't need you.
That's exactly right. They start thinking they can do that all by themselves. So what did they do? When anytime a disaster happens, they target they start single women. That's exactly who they target. That's almost all who they target. It don't even matter if the man is, I mean, it does matter if the man looks weak, but the first thing that they do is target women that don't have a man. That is the first thing they do. Look it up. That's the first thing they do. And women, we know women are spoils of war. I seen this video, this movie, he said he was going around conquering and pillaging, and they were like, why are you doing this? Why are you conquering, like taking, it was like, I believe he was just killing like innocent people that had nothing to do with nothing. And he was like, I promised my men women. He promised the men women. So guess what he's gonna do? They're spoils of war. They are gonna be conquered and brought over to those men to be wives. That's what's gonna happen. So we gotta understand how this history goes in the world. Let's say you can do nothing against the truth before the truth. It's going to always continue to happen. Anytime a war breaks out and a woman is defenseless, when a woman, okay, today in the West, when a woman gets in trouble, who does she go to? The law, right? She calls 911. So when she needs protected, she calls men to protect her. That's what she's calling. She's calling men to protect her. That's the first thought that comes into a woman's mind, anybody's mind when they call 911. A man is coming. Men with guns are coming. That's what you think. So you think that you can be independent, but still try to call on a man for help when you need it. You see what I'm saying? You see how off that is? Like, we gotta understand, we gotta protect ourselves. And the way that we can protect ourselves is by coming back to the Bible and being completely, solely dependent, making the Most High God our source. He tells us exactly how we're supposed to move and how we're supposed to operate. How we're supposed to feel, how we're not supposed to feel. Should we be jealous of one another or not be jealous of? Should we be accepting of our brothers and our sisters that come in, even though they may have more, or should we not? Are we supposed to render evil for evil or not? You know what I'm saying? He tells us exactly how we're supposed to feel, think, and be, because that's our righteous state. Right? All right. Let's keep going. I think there might be more than that.
It says, nature have provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death.
So why did they do that? They did that in front of her so that they can show the woman that he can't protect you. As strong and mentally strong as he used to be, he can't protect you. You have to come to me. That's what they're showing the women, that you have to come to your enemies for help. And that's exactly what we do as a people. We go to our enemies for help, right? Instead of being a strong, having a strong head, because the man is the defense of the house, right? A man is the defense of the house. And when a man is defense, if you can conquer the man, normally you can conquer the whole house. And that's still the way it is today, right? So if there's no man in the home, then it's going to be easily conquered, because that's who they target. I wanted to say this too. Strong man, what does that look like? What does a strong man look like? A strong man looks like it's protecting, it's providing. And that's in more ways than one. That's protecting physically, providing physically, and spiritually. So it's in more ways than just physical protection, right? It's financial protection. It's in all ways when you think of protection, that's how a man is supposed to protect. Spiritually, is he a spiritual leader? Like I said, I asked the question, is he, a woman wants a man that's better than her in every way. She ultimately wants a superior being. She don't really want somebody that's equal to her. She wants a man that can spiritually lead her, spiritually protect her, spiritually guide her, physically protect her, physically guide her. She wants a man to be better. That's what she's created. She's created to be protected. And that's why the Most High God created the man to protect her. Right? I hope I'm making sense. Am I making sense?
Yes.
All praises. All right, go ahead.
It says, we reverse nature by burning and pulling one civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence, by her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed. That's heavy.
Go ahead.
Because they always, I'm not gonna repeat the phrase, but like, our women look at us like we ain't, you know what? That's a common phrase, and this was strategically placed on our people. It says, with the male image destroyed.
Hey, and they do it through the police force today. Like, we got situations like Rodney King where they beat him like that in front of everybody. The point is, you know, our people start realizing nobody's gonna help us, nobody's gonna protect us, starting with the women. So that's why, like he said, they run to them for help. They kill our men in the streets, they beat our men half to death, and nobody's there to help us. That's the same thing he's reading right there. Just modernized. You know, whipping us and pulling us apart. That's what the police force is doing.
And they got, they'll take a strong black man like Terry Crews, big black brother, and have him put on a dress.
Yeah.
They destroying the male image. Women, they'll subconsciously see that and be like, nah, I can't follow this. That's not it. But they did this to us on purpose, though, man. It say, It says, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. That's where you get your independent women from. It say, in this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and free female offspring in reversed roles.
So we see that it's frozen. This is a frozen psychological independent state. She's been made frozen. To be frozen, independent, right? Which is where she's not supposed to be. Go ahead.
It says, for fear of the young male's life,
Right.
she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak.
To be what?
To be mentally weak
Because we were once mentally strong, but now we're made mentally weak. Go ahead.
and dependent, but physically strong.
So no more does the man step out and lead anymore. He doesn't step out and be like, I'm going to do this for not just for me, but for my community. Not just for my community, but for my children. I'm going to step out and speak up. I'm going to go out there. We've been made in terms of lesser words. Well, I'm trying to say a word. Cowards. Weak. We've been made mentally weak, even though we're physically strong. You know what I'm saying? He might be able to do all of this athletic ability, but mentally, he's weak. He can no longer step up and protect you like he's supposed to, because he's afraid of being hurt or how people are going to look at him. Just like the woman may be afraid on how I go to a family event and I call him Lord, she's going to be afraid with amazement, like it talks about in 2 Peter, 3 Peter, right? So it's fear on both sides, and we got to overcome that fear. We got to start stepping up. Women got to start stepping up and relinquishing her power. That takes a lot of courage. In today's society, I'll say in America, because I'm trying to put myself in the woman's shoes to thinking women have been conditioned to have so much authority in America. And to let that go to a man that may be mentally weak can be hurtful. It can be scary. It can be scary. So, but it's necessary for his building, for his strength. It's necessary. If you want what you do want, a man that's mentally strong and physically strong, it's necessary to give that over to him. Because once you do, he's going to start working on himself, seeing where he lacks, and start to develop that. You see what I'm saying? And this is why you don't see a lot of men out there on the streets and highways and byways, because they're afraid of what everybody might think. Mentally weak. It was changed. It was mentally weak. But you are starting to see more of an uprising to where the knowledge of the Bible is changing that. It says, we keep going, it's going to say that there was unless there be a phenomenon, and the phenomenon is the scriptures, showing us this is how we used to be. We used to be strong men, the Maccabean period, the Maccabees, King David, how they ruled and reigned, when they did rule and reign for a time, how they moved as strong men, making wise decisions, leaning on their brothers. You start to see that, and that thing starts to condition the mind, condition the spirit, right?
It says, for the fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent as well. So what have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared.
Now remember, they did this to reverse the relationship, to reverse nature, it says. To reverse the nature of how the development of the family. So again, changing the mindset of the Western mindset is where, this is the Western mindset. Read that again.
It says, because she has become psychologically independent,
This is the Western mindset. She's psychologically independent.
she will train her female
She's
offspring
going to train her offspring,
to be psychologically independent
Yeah,
as well.
go ahead.
What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front
and the nigger man behind and scared.
So this is what we have today in America. This is the American family. This is the American household. They predict predominantly the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're predominantly like this, to where we're scared, hiding behind. You got a big, strong man hiding behind a 4-foot woman, 5-foot female. You know what I'm saying? Because she's mentally strong. But we got to reverse that role. We got to change the way that we think and the way that we view things. Because even though it may seem wrong, it may even feel wrong. Your feelings, what is it? I was going into the other day with my wife. I wrote it down perfect. Like, your feelings don't determine, basically, you can't follow after your feelings. Because once you start to have a mindset, you set a mindset of way, let's say, we know celebrating birthdays is bad now, right? But we used to think and feel that celebrating birthdays was right. Once we started, the Bible started conditioning our minds that it was wrong, now our feelings have changed. Your feelings follow your mindset. That's what I'm trying to show you. You have to change your mindset before you change your feelings. You can't follow your feelings, because when you follow your feelings, you're going to be led all over the place. So you have to change your mindset, and then the feelings will follow the mindset.
All right.
Go ahead.
It says, you got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation for sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alert and on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly.
Now what?
Now we can sleep soundly.
Now the enemy can sleep soundly because the woman is in front and the man is scared. But whenever that phenomenon happens to where the man's like, I'm no longer scared, I'm going to start to govern my household according to the Bible and how I'm supposed to, then they're going to become scared. Fear is going to start to happen again. That's something that they've always been afraid of, right? Go ahead. Okay.
There's actually a biblical scripture for that. Revelation chapter 11, verse 11. It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood on their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
It said great fear fell upon them. It's going to happen again. Once those men fight, whether you believe it or not, if the woman doesn't come into this truth with the man, even if she comes into the truth with the man, there's going to be a lot of fighting. There's going to be a lot of power struggle. You know what I'm saying? Her not letting go of the power again, trying to gain the power again. So it says, can you read that for me one more time?
It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them.
So the spirit of life of God entered, the spirit of life of God entered into those people. Go ahead.
And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them. So it's going to happen again. They're going to become afraid of those people because their household is going to be so in order. There's going to be terrible fear, like how we used to be. They used to be afraid of us, calling us gods. They called us gods when they saw us at a point in time when we were so much in order. You see what I'm saying? Well, we've got to change the mindset. We've got to change the thinking of America's got it. You know, America's way of living is the right way of living when it's not the right way of living. We've got to come back to the Most High God, and it's being proven in all the forms of social media, where you see these men and women out there doing all matters of wickedness, and they're showing like you got men that have knowledge, have some knowledge, and they're like questioning these men and women. They're like, you really thought that was the right thing to do? And then their answer is all dumb. You know what I'm saying? I can't really go into it because it's so bad. Some of the things are so bad, but they thought that it was the right way. You know what I'm saying? Their feelings was right. And come to find out, they followed their feelings into destruction.
And Cap, my thing is this here. even when the so-called president said, I'm your protector,
Mm,
I'm your Lord, well, how did the men feel about their wives?
mm.
Y'all gotta depend on this president. Who am I then?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one of the things I was like, this don't make no sense. I'm leaving to my president.
That's right.
The president name is
That's right. That's actually right. Man, that just hurt the heck out. And you're actually right about that. Because for one, it tells us that we're not supposed to vote a king that's not among the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It does make the men feel a certain way, but we got to put this power back into the men's hands. But the men got to want to have it. If the men don't desire to have it, then they're going to stay weak. But we got to try to uplift and condition the minds of the men and women to show that this way of living is very wrong. This way of thinking is very wrong. It says, there's a way that seemeth right unto the man. Can y'all get that for me? Because I'm paraphrasing it just a little off. I know I am. So it seemeth right. It seemeth right. You got it? Go ahead.
This is Proverbs 14:12. It says, there is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death.
The end thereof are what?
Are the ways of death.
The end thereof are the ways of death. It seems right unto a man, but the end is the way of death. We seem like America's got it, but it's death at the end of that line. We seem like being letting the woman or following after the ways of America is right, but the ways are death. It's destruction. You're gonna find yourself dying right along with the people that hate you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's a terrible way of dying. Terrible way of dying. I'd rather die with the people that love me than the people that hate me. You know what I'm saying? So, in order for us to do that, we gotta come back and know who our enemies are and understand who the people that are leading us are trying to teach us. What are they teaching us? Are they teaching us that the women should stay independent, stay defenseless, stay, you know what I'm saying? They feel like they got it. They feel like they're, oh man, thinking of another scripture. Let me get Psalms 45. Let's go ahead and get that. Psalm 45. And I'll start at verse 9.
This is Psalms chapter 45 and verse 1.
9.
Oh, selected. This is Psalms 45 and verse 9. King's daughters were among thy honorable women.
Say that again?
It says, King's daughters were among thy honorable women.
So where were the king's daughters? They're around amongst honorable women. Why? Because you are the company you keep. You are like the company you keep. So if you're around honorable people, if your daughter's around honorable people, what's going to happen to her? She's going to become honorable, right? Go ahead. Did you have something, sis?
But what if you don't even have people to be around?
You got to push yourself around people, or at least like, I'm sorry.
But if there's no one for you, I understand what you're saying, but if you can't even place yourself around people.
So we do have a sister that's kind of in that situation. Powerful sister. She's powerful. And y'all brothers know what I'm talking about. Sister William. I wouldn't want to say her name. It's powerful sisters. She's in that situation where she don't have people to surround herself around, but she does because she surrounds herself around people. She's always there. She's always present. She's probably listening to this right now. She's always there. So she's surrounding herself. Go ahead.
Check your thing is. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. So she's surrounding herself, and maybe not physically, but mentally, she's always there. She's in every call. So that's a way of being around people too. Hopefully that answers your question.
In a way it does.
It might not be what you want.
Well, it's not about what you wanted. Sometimes it takes more.
But it's true.
And
That's
then,
true.
you
That's
understand
true.
what I'm saying?
That's very true.
It's-
That's true.
You know.
Some people hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people hands
Yes.
on.
Yes.
You got to be able to get what you can get. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then the Most High God will open up the ways for it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It says Psalms 45 verse 9. It Psalm 45:9 it says, King's daughters were among thy honorable women. Upon thy right hand did stand the queen in gold of Ophir.
Right.
Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear.
Hearken, O daughter, and consider, and incline thine ear. Pay attention.
It says, forget also thy own people.
It says what?
Forget also thy own people.
Yeah.
And thy father's house. It says, so.
Now that's a heavy statement. It says to forget your own people and your father's house. That can be hard to do. To forget the teachings and the ways that you were brought up. Watch this. Go ahead.
It says, it says, so shall the king greatly desire
The king here in this passage is your husband. So your husband, you can replace king as your husband right here. So shall the king or your husband greatly what?
desire thy beauty.
Greatly desire thy beauty.
For he is thy Lord.
For he is what?
Thy Lord.
For he is thy Lord. Same language that was written in Peter. Go ahead.
And worship thou him.
It says, and worship thou him. That is extremely strange in America. Worshiping my husband. Girl, I ain't doing that. What you talking about? Worshiping my husband. That's what it's saying. If you get it, you can get it in different translations too. Let's get it in. You get it in the NIV. Might be in the GNT. I just want to prove the point that part is talking about the husband. Might be NIV. Oh, yeah, right there. 11. Just scroll down. You have the right verse. Yeah, 45 and 11. 45 and 11. 45 and 11. 40, there you go. Yes, sir. Okay, let's still say king. Let's go to another. Let's go to the NLT. Let's go to the NLT.
Stop crying on this.
What was that? Somebody read it for me?
It says, for your royal husband delights in your beauty. Honor him, for he is your Lord.
That's what it's saying. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says that. The Bible says that. That's hard to take. You got something?
It's not hard to take, but what if they're not doing that? What if-
Then he's got to be placed in the right situations to start being conditioned. But you honoring him and honoring God
Yeah.
could
got-
make him do that. He could be like, what's the change in you? You changed. You've been extremely sweet. You've practiced Proverbs 31, Proverbs 15. You've had smooth answers, soft answers that made me want to, you know what I'm saying? That made me want to look into what you studied. That can be how it's done. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is 1 Corinthians 7:16. It says, for what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? It's a question mark. Or how knowest thou, O man, that thou must save thy wife?
So I see, what verse is that? Can you put that on there?
1 Corinthians 7:16.
1 Corinthians 7:16, is that in what? NLT? Oh, KJV. That's a good one.
Ultimately, we don't know this. Ultimately, the power of God is what's, doing all things.
Yeah.
That's
Don't underestimate his power, so he can do it. Whether it's a woman or a man, he can change.
Yeah. So he can use you to change your husband. He can use you to change other men. To be like, man, I want to get a wife like that. How did he, let me look into what they do. You know what I'm saying? That it can be like that. What verse was that? Was that right? 16? Oh, it is. Okay. Read that for me, kid.
It says, for what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? Or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife?
So there's a potential where a wife can save the husband by
Right.
how she behaves. Hold on. I got another one. Another one. Let's see. I think it's Ecclesiastes
about the fish?
Where were we?
Like, cat.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 26. Can I get somebody to get that? Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 26. Yeah, whatever you got. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 26.
Now, bear with me. Go ahead.
It says, and I find more bitter than death
Bear with me. Go ahead.
the woman whose heart is snares and nets,
Go ahead.
and her hands as bands.
Go ahead.
Whoso pleaseth God,
What is that?
whoso pleaseth
One
God,
more time.
Whoso pleaseth
Come
God
on.
shall escape from her.
Right, so whoever pleases God shall escape from that man or that woman. Your purpose, your whole point is to please God.
Right.
He's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of you. So if you please the Most High God by behaving in the manner that He told you to, He's going to protect you. He's going to change that husband, change that man. Maybe even put you in a situation. We see that with our foremother. What's the foremother that happened to? King David. Abigail.
Right.
He changed her situation. But what did she do? Did she, hey, you know what I'm saying? You weren't doing the right thing. She wasn't doing it. She was pleasing God.
Right.
That's all she did. That's all your focus has to be. He's going to take care of you. I said the other day, I said, the Most High God is a daddy's girl. He takes care of them. He takes care of his girl.
Right.
He takes care of you. You know what I'm saying? So He's going to take care of you. He's not going to put you, if you're pleasing Him, He's not going to keep you in a situation that you shouldn't be in. He showed that before. He took care of her. You know what I'm saying? Our foremother. Let's get back to it. I only got a few more. I want to get this, First Peter, Zion, 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 6 again. I think that's right.
This is 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 6. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 6. It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement.
Right. Go ahead.
Likewise, ye husbands.
So I was using this scripture a little bit yesterday to show that also, well, not necessarily this scripture, but I do want to make this point. But as the men level up, the women have to level up too. If a man comes into the sons of Jacob or into the church of Zion of Trumpet, he has to level up. He can no longer be mentally weak. He can no longer, if you listen to the Bible, you can't be mentally weak. If you really listening to it,
Right.
you are forcing yourself to be mentally weak at that point.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if an Israelite is teaching you, you're forcing yourself to be mentally weak. You're forcing yourself to stay in a position to where you are still stagnant. You're not leading your family. You're not leading the body. You're not mentally strong. So you're forcing yourself to be that person. So when a man starts to level up, the woman has to level up too. Why? Because she's going to be looked at as the example of what a woman is supposed to be in the body. Right? Is she counseling? What footsteps is she doing? Because you're going to be looked at. If he ranks up, he was a soldier or he is a soldier, what does his wife look like? He's an officer. She's ranked up to a status of now she's delegating and helping the women and being real sisterly. What does she look like? What example is she doing? You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, the more the men rank up and level up, the women have to rank up and level up too. You can no longer just sit back and do absolutely nothing. You see what I'm saying? Keep going.
It says, likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
So, and also when I mean absolutely nothing, I mean not trying to better yourself as a wife. Because simply doing that can be enough. If you just better yourself to be a wife, now you're the example of what a righteous wife should look like. Right? She's not combative. She's not dictating her husband. She's not ruling. She's in order and involved in what her husband is involved with. See what I'm saying? Go ahead. Read that again.
It says, this is 1 Peter 3 verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
So I said I brought this up yesterday too, also showed that the man has to, as much as the women naturally learns the man has to learn the woman and how she learns. Is she learning in a way to where you can just tell her one time and she gonna get it? Or is she learning in a way that you have to tell her multiple times? I gotta write it on the wall now because you ain't getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the point is to learning her and be patient with her. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High God is patient with us. Go ahead. It says, likewise, these husbands deal with them according to knowledge. So we got to deal with them according also to the scriptures, but also having patience, long suffering, gentleness, not beating them over the head. Like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to, hey, stand up straight. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? Let's work on this posture. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it may be to help gently get her there, because the Most High God is gently getting you there. He's guiding the man, right? But dealing with them according to knowledge. Go ahead.
It says, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
So when you do that, you give honor unto the wife and showing that she is the weaker vessel. She may take a little bit more time. It's okay. You took time to get there too. Be patient with her. Go ahead.
And as being heirs together.
Being what?
Heirs together.
We are heirs together. Go ahead.
Of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
Right, so that your prayers be not hindered. The whole point of this lesson, Lord willing, we got the picture, is that the Western mindset is the worst mindset and the wrong way to follow. Thinking that if you're not changed from your family, you come into the truth, and you still operate and act like your family, that's off. You're not in the right position. You're not following the Bible. You're not following the Bible. So the Western mindset is completely different than the Bible. It's completely different than righteousness. It's going to look completely different. You're going to always be able to coincide and find somebody to agree with you in the world. Man, can you believe that they like this? You know what I'm saying? Can you believe they don't eat pepperoni? Ain't that crazy, brother? Hey, brother, that's crazy, huh? You're going to find somebody that's going to agree with you. You know what I'm saying? In the world. But in righteousness, they're going to look at you in the different way because they know how the Bible is supposed to, how we're supposed to behave.
And if you keep living that way, living God's way, they'll adapt to what you, y'all know I don't eat that.
Yeah.
If y'all ain't got that chicken, y'all gonna forget it. She ain't coming.
Oh, praise
You know, don't invite mama, we got crawfish today, you know.
I think there might, I want to say there might be a scripture on that, but you're absolutely right. I think it's a tradition. But the point is that you're absolutely right because they're going to start to celebrate, they're going to start to conform to you. They're like, I'm going to do that. But don't even, why are you still trying to celebrate her birthday? You know what I'm saying? She knows that that's against God. Why are you doing that? So you're absolutely right. They're going to do that. Absolutely right. Go ahead.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse 5. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse 5. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. So the rebuke of the wise is what you need to hear. It might hurt. Like I said, it might just be not what you wanted to hear, but it's the real solution to your problems. But the song of fools is that's what they tell you what you want to hear. They give you the smooth words.
Yeah.
Israelites, they is out of line.
Right.
You been eating pepperoni. You know what I'm saying? That's the song of fools. That's gonna be like, these people is my friends. That's not your friends.
Right.
That's the song of fools. Right? You need to hear the rebuke of the wise. The rebuke of the wise is gonna tell you the word, bro. All your feelings aside, God said we're not supposed to eat pork. You see what I'm saying? That's just an example, but you got the rebuke of the wise versus the song of fools. You got what you need to hear versus what you want to hear.
Right.
You know, sometimes you gotta swallow that harsh pill. You gotta drink the NyQuil, man. Even though it's nasty.
Yeah, even though it's nasty. So if you remember this, what's up? You got something?
I have a precept to do with knowledge.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, and verse 10. It says, "We say to the seer, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy and see." And the reason why I brought that
So if y'all can remember this, where you have two types of mindsets. You have a Western mindset and an Eastern mindset. And I pray that you're feeding the righteous mindset more than you are the Western mindset. Feed that righteous mindset and leave off from the Western mindset. Men and women, we both got to become strong in our own right. Meaning the women have to become strong in letting go and trusting God. Men have to become strong in stepping up to the bat and not being mentally weak. We got to actually step up because the nation is looking at us. They're looking for strong men to follow. Who's going to step up and lead in a right way, in righteousness, not in a selfish, greedy way? We've already seen those examples. We haven't seen an example of a man that's standing firm on the Lord. Only he's not worried about having the best cars or the best house, or he's not worried about having the best jewelry. He's not worried about that. He's stepping on business for the Lord. That's what's more important. That's what we need to see. That's what we need to see. You know what I'm saying? We need to see that. Not that we want to. We need to see that. So the men have a responsibility and the women have a responsibility too.
And another thing is being a single woman, we have to say, some fella walk up to me, girl, you beautiful. You know God told me the same thing. But do you believe in these pagan holidays?
That's right.
I need to know what you believe in, because if you do, we can't even talk about it.
That's
You
right.
know?
That's right.
Because I need to follow somebody that's going to please God.
That's
If you
right.
don't love God, you don't love me.
That's right. That's right. And the women that are single, you have to follow the righteous leaders of your congregation. This is how it's set up. You know what I'm saying? So once you follow Elder Yasarala,
Yes.
he gonna lead you in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're gonna continue to pray for the men and the women that are looking for husbands and wives. You know what I'm saying? So that brothers and sisters can be taken care of. All right. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns over anything at all, any topic?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I know I'm new for my first time.
Yes, sir.
I kind of want to touch back on what Kim was saying.
That's absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and that is creating that standard is, and ultimately creating.
Standing on those beliefs, God brought me.
Verse 10, it says,
Standing on those beliefs, God brought me.
verse 10, it says, wherefore the rather,
Everybody knows consistency is king. So the more that you never fall, God. So that's just an added scripture to it. Never fall, God. So that's just an added scripture to it, which I was saying. All praises. All praises. Anybody else got any comments, questions, concerns over anything? Anything at all? All right, none. All right, none. Captain, you got anything? The Western mindset is the right mindset, and it's not. It's far off from the right mindset.